So recently, a viewer has emailed me with the title, "Please watch Cherrow's video," and it is going to be about the Snapdragon meta teams and how Cherrow got a revenge on Dev Sisters for being pay to win. So just like the viewer asked, I went and watched Cherrow's video.
I have to defeat one of the strongest opponents in the game. There's 150 spectators.
And to summarize the video, it was that Cherrow was deciding to try and find a new comp, which is going to be this comp right over here with Stardust, that is going to be able to counter Snapdragon because Dev Sisters decided to make the actual gacha quote-unquote pay to win, because free-to-play players are only able to get 3 pulls per day using the purity crystals, and they are going to have to wait a very long time. And at the end of the video, Cherrow actually asked everyone to share this video, so I wanted to go and test it out myself and also just share it with you guys to see if this comp actually works out, and also give you guys my thoughts about the new quote-unquote Stardust one-shot comp and the current meta as well. So this is going to be the Stardust one-shot comp, and the toppings are going to be very similar to what I've actually shared with the Margarine one, except for the fact that we are going to be putting in Stardust instead of the Royal Margarine. And we do have Space Donut with 5 of the Solid Almond, at least 2.8% cooldown. That is very important. I don't know if Cherrow actually mentioned that. I kind of skipped over it, but that's going to be the topping. And then of course focusing on the damage resist. And then we got Stardust with 5 of the Juicy Apple Jelly. You don't need to have any cooldown necessarily because you are always going to have that 4-second start following up right after Space Donut. Just focus on the damage resist so that your Stardust is able to kind of stay alive if you guys don't kill the enemies right away. And then we got Captain Caviar, of course, with 5 of the Syrian Raspberry, focusing on attack and crit. And you want the whistle buff on Captain Caviar. We have Moonlight with full-on Syrian Raspberry. Previously, I shared it with the full-on Solid Almond. The reason why it actually works out with full Syrian Raspberry this time around is because Stardust with full-on Juicy Apple Jelly is able to actually sleep the enemies before they are able to use their skills. So Moonlight is able to transition quickly without having her skill interrupted and dying off early on. So you guys can actually use full Syrian Raspberry, focusing on the attack as well as a crit and some damage resist, and of course the whistle buff on her. And the last one is going to be Squidding. Squidding, however, is still going to be using full on Solid Almond. Cherrow actually did use full on Syrian Raspberry and then switch to full Solid Almond because, you know, Squidding does die off really quickly. So you want to focus on the damage resist and keep them alive and allow them to at least use their skill one time before, you know, they get blown up by the enemies. Alright, but this is going to be the comp here. It's not anything new, honestly speaking, because I have actually tried out these teams, but it does exceptionally well, and Cherrow did share it first. So let's go and test it out inside of the arena for the pure vanilla server, because Cherrow is, I believe, on the Holoberry server side. So with that out of the way, guys, let's test out this particular comp on my account on the pure vanilla server, which is not going to be free to play, and just see how well this comp does.
Singing about victory. Out of my way!
I will not falter! I will not falter! The wrath of the stars! I will not falter! I will not falter! I will not falter!
This good? Out of my way!
I will not falter! The wrath of the stars!
The stars are singing about victory. Out of my way!
So because of the fact that the arena kind of recently reset, there was not a lot of comps that I can find that were like super high spec. So I went and versed a guild member who is actually a really big whale and has like I believe a 4-star Ascension Snapdragon. So here is what happened.
Out of my way!
And as you guys see on the screen, that comp, even with the 5-star Ascension Snapdragon, did not really stand a chance, and the Stardust one-shot comp actually did wonders and didn't really lose any particular battle against Snapdragons or even other comps that I actually versed.
This good?
So with that momentum, I went and continued to verse different comps without even Snapdragons, with something like, you know, Pure Vanilla and BTS that were the previous comps as well. And in the end, I was pretty much ended up with 8-0, which was a lot better than how it turned out for Cherrow in the beginning. And just kind of proved the point that Snapdragon can be countered by Stardust one-shot comp right now inside of the meta.
Out of my way!
I'm the Spice Overlord!
Out of my way!
So without a doubt, after my testing as well as Cherrow's, I'm sure that you guys can tell that the Stardust one-shot comp is actually a really good comp against the Snapdragons, as well as other comps that does not even have Snapdragon right now. And the reason why it's so good is because Space Donut is able to put the defense reduction, and then it is followed up right after by Stardust with a full Juicy Apple Jelly, which means that there is a really good chance of the enemies actually falling asleep, allowing your Moonlight to put the weakness debuff and Squidink and Captain Caviar to follow up, even if they do die off and you know, get revived by the feather. However, now talking about the flaw of this team is that, honestly speaking, we do say that Snapdragon is quote-unquote pay to win. However, in my opinion, the most pay to win banner was actually going to be this particular cookie right here, and that is going to be Stardust. And it is going to be a limited time banner. And honestly speaking, a lot of the players, because of how short the banner was, did not even get the chance to pull for Stardust with the new type of super epic banner that we had. So honestly, compared to the new Snapdragon gacha, which is going to be permanent, yes, it does take a long time. However, in my opinion, it is actually going to be a lot more free-to-play friendly than actually pulling a Stardust on a free-to-play account, even if they took advantage of everything throughout the event for Stardust Cookie during the actual update. Still, without a doubt, that Snapdragon gacha is going to be pay to win, because there is no way of actually getting those Snapdragon jellies without actually paying for them. However, again, I believe that Stardust is honestly the most pay to win character or cookie that we actually gotten throughout the entire game of Cookie Run Kingdom. Within the 2.5 years that we have been playing this game. But still, guys, without a doubt, the Stardust one-shot comp right now is definitely going to be something that you guys can use inside of the arena. Just keep in mind that Stardust does need to try and have that full Juicy Apple Jelly in order to go and have almost a guaranteed crit percentage onto the enemies in order to make them fall asleep, which is going to help it transition towards the Captain Caviar and Moonlight without having them die super quickly. But thanks, Cherrow, for sharing the comp, as well as thank you to the viewer who has actually sent it to me on email for me to check it out. But anyways, guys, good luck to you guys with the new arena season, and hopefully you guys are able to go and climb as much as possible. with this particular arena comp.